So if you tuned in to last week's episode, you know that we're monitoring the SpaceX IPO. As promised, we want to give you an update on that. As of the date of this recording, it is not on the market or not available. The IPO has not happened yet. But let's see what Fox Business has to say on the opening or the IPO of SpaceX. Check it out.
Now, my next guest has been providing a way for retail investors to own many stocks that are going to be coming public, especially one that everybody wants a piece of. Let's bring in Entrepreneurshare LLC COO, Ava Ottos. A lot of titles. Every time you come, you got a new title.
Those are the whales that get it. Those ones who can get there first. But one thing I can say about the majority of IPOs that I've had the opportunity to watch, normally when they come out, well, they spike up, but then they drop back down relatively quickly. And then from there, it's just a trickle up. So basically my what's the word I'm looking for? My method or what I plan on doing is just grabbing and holding. So I'm not really looking to buy it early and wait for it to spike and then sell off. So I'm trying to do the long game with this one to see if I can reap the benefits in the future or pass them along to the next generation.
Of course, everyone's talking about SpaceX. For a long time now, you've been able to find a way to get these shares, put them into your fund, and people have access to that. Talk now about the excitement that's building up, because this is going to be probably the biggest IPO in history.
In history, the biggest IPO by far. If you look at the previous tech IPOs, they came well under 100 billion. That's 1.75 trillion. We have very strong conviction. That's why we have 205.
I don't want you all to miss out on this opportunity. Like, I always say, what if my parents would have invested, or even, if they would have invested in Apple like in the 90s, that would have grown exponentially. So I would like, definitely myself and anyone in the sound of my voice, to, if you can, at least try to take advantage of this IPO, grab and hold, and let's see where it takes you.
In the XOVR ETF marked at the last tender of 1.25. So we're very comfortable that this is going to give a good premium to current shareholders, perhaps of 40%, if it IPOs at 1.75.
It's hard to believe that it won't. I mean, I'm a critic of IPOs in general because of what's happened to them. I think, people got ripped off in 20 and 21. It feels like obviously different. Also, Elon Musk is talking about, when they go public, giving the retail investor a bigger slice of the pie. Instead of 5 or 10%, maybe 30%.
That's exciting and encouraging.
You like that idea?
We do like
the whales are going to be, out there, but just I'm going to get what I can. Get your money right, people. Get your money right.
About democratizing access to private equity. That's why we created XOVR, for everyone out there to have access to pre-IPO companies, and SpaceX to us is the crown jewel. That's why we have such a strong conviction. This IPO is going to be very different than most IPOs out there.
I just got to ask, some people are a little frustrated. They get jumped in line in some of the procedures. Exchanges are rewriting the rules. Are you okay with that? Is it so special that we should be okay with that and look the other way?
I think so. I think especially when it comes to IPOs, if you look at the last IPOs over the last 15 years, for example, Facebook, Airbnb, Uber, Circle, you have a 6-month lockup in the first 6 months, and then we studied them and we saw that they reached the peak of 100 to 130% appreciation in this first 6 months, only to drop after lockup from that peak by about 43% on average.
Right.
So that's going to be mitigated with SpaceX. And the reason is, first of all, Elon owns about 40% of the company.
Right.
That's why we buy and hold. Shout out to EYL. We're looking for stocks that's going to increase long term. And there's a lot of steam and a lot of promise behind SpaceX,
If there is a faster conclusion to the S&P 500 index, that's going to change the game, because then you have $7 to $10 trillion mutual funds and ETFs of passive money following the index, and $8 to $11 trillion of corporate mandates following the index. So that's going to be buying pressure, and that will mitigate the selling pressure we see after lockup.
I love that. That answer I had not heard yet. I love that answer, because that's another thing, I usually wait to buy these IPOs a year later, because they go up, and like a Roman candle, they have this bright, beautiful blow up, and everyone's looking at it, then they drift to earth, and everyone kind of forgets about it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying.
They've got some support here. The
Exactly.
other potentially hot IPO could be OpenAI. Right now, the latest valuation, if you add up McDonald's, Disney, Boeing, Uber, all of these, it equals OpenAI. Although I'm hearing some negative scuttlebutt too. Story, that they're trying to sell shares privately. No one wants to buy it. Anthropic's taking market share.
Yeah, speaking of OpenAI, let's watch that one, because as the gentleman was just about to mention, Anthropic and Claude, apparently they're the best. I never used Claude, but apparently they're the best AI software right now. So we got a segment coming up on Claude as well. So stay tuned.
This is a hot IPO. Are you looking at this?
We did consider it to include it to XOVR, but we want to have the big players that we believe have a strong.
I wasn't quite tracking on OpenAI's IPO. We'll monitor that. Sam Altman, his team, OpenAI. That's ChatGPT. They've been kind of getting bad publicity here they say it's Claude, then ChatGPT. I use Gemini myself, the Google product, but yeah, we'll monitor it. But maybe their IPO could be interesting as well.
OpenAI does not have a strong
So
moat.
just because of size, that doesn't matter, right?
No.
You're just going strictly on size.
Actually, after the XAI merger with SpaceX, to me it is clear that SpaceX will be the winner with XAI, because the moat was never about the AI models. The moat was always about infrastructure and having data centers in the space. So Elon is going to have the whole supply chain. It's going to be very hard for any other.
If you heard what the young lady just said, having data centers in space. We just did a segment on the consequences or the cons to having data centers here in our local communities. So, all right, I might be starting to see the play.
AI company to compete against him, because they'll have to use his supply chain, just like we see with Amazon Leo.
Let me ask you about Ubiquity. I saw your notes. This is the name you like. I've been in this stock in and out of it for years. It's starting to really get a big following right now.
Yes, and it's important to know that the founder owns 93% of the company. That's it. We have never. You rarely see a public company with such a high concentration. The free float is about 7%. We really like it. Its fundamentals are very strong, 4 times the profit of the rest of the category. Very, very strong fundamentals.
Great and great execution. Palantir, listen, they keep getting new contracts. They keep executing, and the stock keeps drifting lower.
Yeah, Palantir. It was a lot of promise for their stock, but I've been watching Palantir. I think I'm pretty sure they make the technologies for government contracts and all that good stuff for wars and all that good stuff. But their stock hasn't been really performing like a lot of folks said it would.
Is, but I think it's not, and again, it's a volatile market, right? So that's why I feel comfortable owning SpaceX, because at least we know that this is going to hopefully appreciate by the time of the IPO. But it is a volatile market. I like it long term, though.
Hopefully, with all this being said, we're going to get off here in a minute. What the young lady's saying, SpaceX, they may be a more secure, they have more moats, they might be a better play, because if you're somebody like me, I have to pick. If I'm getting an individual stock, I have to pick and choose wisely. I don't just get randoms, because I like to be structured. I like to be focused. So I do mostly index funds and ETFs. If I do an individual stock, it has to be one. It's going to be one of the Mag 7s. One of the Mag 7s. If I have some disposable income, I'll drop it on Rivian, or I've done AMC, I've cashed out on those. I still have some residuals, but AMC is a whole nother. I think it was $1 the other day. That's a whole nother video. But to stay on topic, SpaceX might be one of the ones that in our lifetime might be one of those stocks that you can jump on, as soon as it comes out and ride it out, and that might produce dividends here for a long time into the future. So definitely going to monitor that and anticipating that IPO.